Welcome to Tied Down TV, Punk Rock Reunion Show with me, Geoff.
And Danny.
Before we get started, we've got another death in the punk world. Mr. Brian James from The Damned. Seems to be happening last 3 weeks. We've talked about some.
It's been a horrible month, hasn't it, for losses in punk.
Absolute legend, though. Obviously you all know who he is and what he wrote and that. But what we're going to do today is we're going to do top 5 London hardcore bands.
Let me tell you a little something about London hardcore. I was raised on two things: me mum's Scouse and London hardcore. Yeah, I've said before that Biohazard were maybe the band that made me look in the direction.
Yeah.
Before I even really knew what it was and what to class it as, although they crossed over, so they could be classed as anything depending on what period of them you heard first. But London hardcore, it was a London hardcore band that made me fall in love with hardcore. Mm-hmm. It was a London hardcore band that made me realise what hardcore was. It was a London hardcore band that made me realise what hardcore was all about. The DIY thing, all of that. I really cut my teeth on a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. They had great venues when I was really young as well, like the Underworld, the Dome, 12 Bar. I don't know if these places still put shows on. I might as well be honest, I'm not going to make out I know exactly what. I haven't got my ear to the ground of what goes on in London these days as much as I did in the mid-2000s. There's a few bands around that are coming up from there that I really like Dynamite, Mastermind. I don't know if Mastermind's still going, but they were great. Stiff Meds, another one. But I think when you're looking at London hardcore, it's probably the scene down there started around the mid-90s, I guess. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there was punk bands around. There would have been, do you know what I mean? But the London hardcore scene surely would have been, from what I can make out in my mind now, I haven't planned anything here, so I'd probably say around 95, 96, to my knowledge. Started by the London Black Up, the LBU. Obviously, I think that collective and Ruction Records deserves a lot of kudos for everything they've done for UK hardcore. Mm-hmm. The bands they put out, the chances they give to younger bands, just their whole method of operation. I think that whole scene. Obviously, we're not just talking about Ruction here. We're talking about London hardcore in general.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, same as you. Obviously, Ruction was the label that was happening with London hardcore at the time when I was getting into hardcore as well. But I'd definitely say you were more a fan of that than I was. I like some of it. I loved some of the bands. To be fair. But a lot of my picks are actually post kind of 2000s, more into the 2010s and 2020s even. It's just kind of, I was thinking about it, all the London bands that I listen to regularly now are more recent bands, I guess.
Yeah, you're quite into the recent London stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot coming up, like that new wave of British hardcore and stuff like that. Into quite a lot of that.
I mean, I like it too, but you really took to a lot of it, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
But obviously, let's get down to it. They don't need no introduction. I'm going to say Knuckledust, the most important band. In my opinion, for me, the most important band from these shows, along with Discharge, for hardcore, in my opinion.
Okay.
I just think Knuckledust come along in 95, 96. And how often do you see with a band that the first, they might release a demo or a couple of 7-inch and it's great, and then they release an album and it's great, and then they release maybe the second thing and it's not so great, and by the end you've lost interest. Yeah. Knuckledust are one of them bands for me that just kept hitting home runs from the demo tape to the London Hardcore EP, all the way through to the third and fourth album. Do you know what I mean? I loved everything they did, and for me, Time Won't Heal This it's as perfect a hardcore record as you're gonna hear. I still remember when I first heard it; it was life changing, absolutely life changing. Yeah, like I said, I'd heard Biohazard up until that point. Like I say, bands like Earth Crisis had made it onto on Kerrang CDs at that point, and Stamping Ground as well were a band. But for me, I really classed them as more of a metal thing. The Knuckledust were the first straight up hardcore band, and Time Won't Heal This was probably the first straight up hardcore album that I listened to, and it blew my head clean off shoulders. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And they were a band that every time, it was like the highlight of my year when I'd see them, do you know what I mean? Just everything about that band. Same 4 members since they've been together over 30 years, over 30 years. Cool. It's unbelievable. I can't really say much more about them. You all know about them. There's no secrets with them. I don't think they play as much as they did, but I know their members are still doing a lot for the UK scene.
Nice. Fucking amazing band, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so first pick for me, Danny touched on at the beginning, but definitely one of my favourite hardcore bands in the UK at the moment. I've gone Stiff Meds. It's fast, brutal, fucking relentless hardcore. I love shit like that. Definitely, fastcore, there's, sprinklings of power violence in there. There's little break bits as well, political lyrics. I fucking love them. When I heard this album here for the first time, Tales from the Slab, that was where I first got onto them, and I was like, whoa, fucking hell, this is amazing. But they've got loads of releases that are all great, to be fair. In fact, it's one here actually, which is great, which is, oh god, what's this one called? Exciting Violence. It's fucking great as well.
I've not heard that one.
It's amazing, man. That was 2021-ish, I think. They're just fucking brilliant. Cruel Music for a Cruel World, their vocalist said in an interview I read. Just an excellent band. They're one of, like I say, one of my favourites of the more recent, and as Danny touched on, a lot of this sort of more recent London bands seem to have kind of found a little place in my heart. These are definitely one of them. One of my favourite current bands, Stiff Meds.
How can I pick a London hardcore list, top 5 list, and not put Ninebar on it? Ninebar, the dons of that LBU sound for me, like that mid-pace swagger that is so unique to the London sound. Ninebar are the dons of it. Yeah. Again, like Knuckledust, been around since the mid-90s. Always amazing to see live. You know what? If you know what I love about Ninebar, right? How many times have we seen it over the years? We've been around long enough. A band comes out, right? The kids love them. Like, a band comes out of nowhere, the kids love them. They're going on about this band. Oh, you need to listen to this band. You need to listen to this band. You start thinking, bloody hell, I need to listen to this band.
Yeah,
you need to listen to this band. You finally hear that band and you're like, hey?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's all right, do you know what I mean? But, they talk like it's and you're kind of like, I'm not, okay, kind of thing. And then something happens with that band, Inner Turmoil. The guitarist Parrot dies or something, all the members disappear off the face of the earth. You never hear from that band again, it's over, it's done. And then a few years later, you might be going through your records, you might find that 1 7-inch they find that they put out, and there's been no legacy left by them, it was just a fad. You look at a band like Ninebar, right, 30 years in the game, do you know what I mean? Representing their style, representing their city amazingly. Obviously, if aliens came down and said to me, green aliens came down and said, I want to hear some of that London hardcore, I'd play them Urban Legends. If I had to pick one record to play them an example of London hardcore, I'd play them Urban Legends. One of the best EPs to come out of the UK hardcore. Just a brilliant example of that LBU, like I say, that LBU mid-pace swagger sound. Absolute perfection.
Nice. Cool. Pick number 2 for me, the only Ruction band that released on Ruction that I've picked, and that's Borstal. Borstal, like a supergroup, don't really like the term, but I guess you could definitely apply it to these for UK hardcore. We're members of Dripback, Kings of Pigs, Cradle of Filth, and Knuckledust, of course. We've got Pierre on vocals, and they're just fucking amazing. They're such a great band. I hadn't actually got onto them really until seeing them supporting Brugera. And he fucking blew me away. I said to Stan, I was like, I'm going to have to go and get their 12-inch now. Picked up the 12-inch DEP, which, God, is somewhere. It's fucking well worth it if you haven't heard that. It's absolutely outstanding. Fucking blew me away. And it's like, it's straight up, it's hardcore, like, but there's bits of oi in there and like street punk. There's little hooks even, like I found it a little bit catchy at times. They do a great cover, King of the Jungle, Last Resort. Was one of the members, I think is the son of a member of the Last Resort. Just outstanding, like maybe not typically, which you've said in the past, maybe not something you'd typically expect me to love as much.
Well, yeah, there's a bit of an Oi influence there in there, and I know you're not big on Oi as much.
Not a huge Oi fan, but I do like it, but obviously this I don't know, just stuck with me. I think maybe seeing them live before hearing it made that better, but absolutely top-notch band, Borstal.
Yeah. One of the things I've said, and I've said it on this show before, you've got bands with beatdowns, like Knuckledust and like Ninebar, and then you have bands who specialise in beatdown hardcore. I think Prowler specialise in beatdown hardcore, and they're who I'm going to talk about next. I love Prowler, one of my favourite ever London bands. I used to get really excited when we got the opportunity to play with them anywhere, which we got to play with them in quite a few places actually. Wow. Liverpool, obviously Liverpool, Preston, London itself. Played them in a few places. And honestly, this band, if you're going to say the art of the beatdown structure, not just zun, 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 you know, the way a beatdown, that part of the song is structured artistically, they're the best at it. They equal anyone. They got a great looking singer, Nathan, when he used to, you know, them big dreads, when he used to sing, he'd fly everywhere, ultra aggressive. They probably toe the line, they just about get close enough to that line before it turns into like, you know, there's metal, like it's still got enough of a foot in being hardcore, old school beatdown, do you know what I mean? They just touch that line with a few of those little death metal licks that start creeping in. But that album's strictly 3.5. There was a running joke for a long time at Prowler, going back in the early 2000s, that everyone was waiting for their record to drop. You know, their young blood brothers in arms, TRC, had already released Northwest Kings and all that, and everyone was waiting for Prowler's record. It seemed to, you know, the date was getting pushed back. Everyone was waiting for it because everyone knew how good they were. They were so good. And then it finally came out, and it didn't disappoint anyone. It was so good. Spoke to Craw not that long ago about it, and he agrees it's one of his favourite ever Ruction releases as well. And it really is that good. The second album, The Curse, is still great. Not as good, I don't think, as 3.5.
Right.
But this band, honestly, is so good, so heavy. Absolutely love Prowler.
Excellent. Nice.
I'd go and see that band every day if they played round the corner every day. If they were doing a 7-day like
a residency,
I'd go every day if they were round the corner.
Cool. Right, fair pick for me. I've gone for a band called Never Again, who are a band I'm going to talk about a little bit, but I don't know loads about, and I've never met anybody or spoke to anybody else who's mentioned this band.
You're the only person I've ever heard mention this band.
There you go. They were a London straight edge band who didn't really have that typical straight edge hardcore sound, but it's more leans in like power violence or fastcore if you like. Very short lived. I think they only existed for just over a year as far as I'm aware. A demo, I think a split 7-inch, and they put out this and then they split up just after. This is called Year One, which is a comp of everything they did, like 22 songs. Unreal, I think, personally, absolutely fucking brilliant. Very underrated. Don't hear them talked up much at all. I advise go and check them out. You might just find a new band if you haven't heard them already. But yeah, they're outstanding. I can't talk too much about them because I actually don't know a whole lot about them, to be honest.
Well, I can't talk too much about my next band either because I don't know too much about them as such as a band apart from their music, which is very good. All I can say is this band are criminally underrated, criminally underspoken about. I don't hear anyone outside of the South London area ever really talk about them. And that is a band from Essex called Deathskulls or the Deathskulls. This band are so good, they're so tight, they're so pissed off, they're so fast. How could I describe their sound really? It's just fast old school hardcore, maybe with a little bit of an oi influence too.
Yeah.
Slightly, really aggressive, but also with a slight bit of humour in there. Not enough people know about this band. Their first album, The Real Deal, I think everyone needs to listen to it. It's absolutely incredible. No song goes on for more than 1:20. Some songs are about 50 seconds. Really just fast. I think that the vocals are shared, I think, between 3 members, and you're just getting these 3 Cockney accents just flying at you like unbelievably good band. They also did release an album on Ruction, but they don't have that traditional Ruction sound at all. That's all I've got to say about them, really. But this band, out of all the bands we've spoken to, in how many 62 episodes we've done on this now?
Yeah.
This is probably one of the most underrated, undersung bands I've ever spoke about on this channel. Please, everyone, go and listen to the Deathskulls.
Nice. Okay, 4th pick for me. I've gone for a band called Lawful Killing. And I've picked these, the recorded output is great. Picked these because when I saw them live, fucking absolutely blew my mind. They were amazing. We were at an all-dayer about 2 years ago nearly now, probably, in Liverpool. And
Blew your head off, didn't they?
They blew they really did.
He was going on about them all night.
On that same bill was Dynamite, who were fucking incredible, outstanding London band. You need to check them out as well. Speedway played. They're from Sweden, aren't they? They were great. But these were my favourite band of the night. I walked away from thinking the fucking energy that came off that stage.
The singer had like this really erratic presence about him.
He had like a bit of HR, a bit of, you know, wasn't doing backflips, but he just didn't fucking stop. He back and forth, bouncing up and down, properly just giving it large to the mic, like you say. Didn't let up for the whole set. They have got a few releases out, a lot of cassette releases and a couple of like a digital only maybe. But they're all available online. You can go and check them out. Definitely quite thrashy at times, very fast. I fucking love them. They're a great band, and I just found out that I think they're splitting up. They're playing a last show in May. So if you're around the area, go and watch them because you won't be fucking disappointed that they're a great live band. So yeah, Lawful Killing.
Dirty Money, a band that obviously the singer Graham is from Wallasey, like us, and I think if a band has a singer that sings in your accent, it's always that little bit more relatable. Yeah. Obviously, Dirty Money's output was pretty limited. They had the demo, they had the EP on Dead and Gone, they had the split with Trapped Under Ice, and it was all solid, obviously. Great live, lots of energy. Like I said, they're classed as a London band. Obviously, Graham comes from our town, our hometown, and obviously the fact he sang in his accent, I always found, like I say, it always makes the music a lot more relatable, I think, and he's still doing that now in the band High Vis, which he's in now. Obviously, he was kind of coming up in the Liverpool scene as when we were too, so we've seen that rise as well. But Dirty Money, I guess the rest of the members come from London. But I always thought I could be completely wrong, London heads, correct me please. I always thought there was a member from Coldwell in that band, the American band called. I could be totally fucking wrong. I might be getting that completely mixed up. Yeah. But, you know, Dirty Money are one of them bands, I think, who left a legacy. People still speak about them now. Like I said, I think everyone who saw them live, I love that like little period where you had them and Deal With It. Both of them bad, but they had that kind of like that no warning thing going on. Brilliant. I don't know where Deal With It were actually classed as being from, but Dirty Money, my last pick.
Yeah, great pick. My last pick, I've gone for Chubby and the Gang, who are rock and roll, hardcore supergroup, I guess. These are members of Arms Race, Big Cheese, I think Lawful Killing as well. Various members made up with Chubby Charles, who is the main guy, and he's the one who's bounced around quite a few hardcore bands. I absolutely love it. It's just very influenced by like punk rock, pub rock, oi, street punk and hardcore all kind of mashing together. Yeah, they may not be strictly a hardcore band, but they're all hardcore members.
Oh yeah, they're part of the scene,
aren't they?
London hardcore.
I love it. I love that it's no nonsense. It's straight up just a bit of fun, rock and roll music, catchy as anything. And yeah, I mean, just go and check them out. They've got like 3 albums. They're all fucking brilliant. They're all very worth checking out. That's my last pick.
Right, before we go, yes, we've had one. Guess what it's time for? Conned. Yeah, we've had one sent in today. Mike from Portsmouth said, Danny and Geoff, I recently bought a Warzone Lower East Side Crew 7-inch, which I thought was an original for 90 quid when it arrived. It was a blatant bootleg with a grainy photograph sleeve and no inlay. Well, I tell you what, Mike, that you want to try and get that 90 quid back, and you want to try and flip and throw that guy in the Mersey.
That is unreal.
That is horrible.
That's bad, man.
Yeah, you'll have to try and send us a photo of that, because I really want to see what it looks like now. I've had some bad bootlegs in my time, and I want to see how bad that looks.
That's rough, that, man. Cool, well, those are our picks. Let us know yours in the comments. Give us a like and a subscribe, ring that bell if you want some notifications. Instagram, Facebook, give us messages, follows, likes. It all helps, we love it all. See you next week.